perhaps criticizing the president. Do you think there's something we should be concerned about, though?
Well, I don't know if we should criticize him. I think I'm deeply concerned for him. It's a very sad thing to see him go through what he went through, just like falling here. But this is a man that has progressive dementia. He has cognitive defects. He's had multiple cerebral aneurysms. He's had strokes. He is not a well man.
President Biden fell not once, but 3 times while trying to walk up the steps. And that third fall, it appeared to cause the most damage potentially there. We heard Dr. Crandall's analysis. President Biden then even rubbed his knee after he got up there. We see the third fall, and then continues up the steps.
Once, twice, 3 times a lady. Our panel is back with us, Rick Green, John Fleming, and Trey Radel. Trey, I'll start with you. I'm not an old man, but I'm old enough to remember when the media was speculating and had all types of doctors come on TV to talk about the cognitive defects and the problems of President Trump. Now, again, it is silence of the lambs with the media. How are we supposed to interpret this? What are your thoughts on our president literally tripping his way to having America lead from behind?
Well, however old you are, you just busted out some 80s tune and Silence of the Lambs. So you're doing pretty darn good with the pop culture references.
Oh, man.
Look, when you reference those doctors coming on television and never having seen Donald Trump in person and declaring he has a mental illness, they break some ethical codes here. But what they are is a symptom of the illness that is happening in society. They're just like the media, the Democratic foot soldiers of the New York Times and Washington Post, who will not look at this with a critical eye. And what they end up doing is kind of taking the same language that Democrats use. Hear me out. Abortion is not abortion, it's women's health care. Hiking taxes is not hiking taxes, it's your patriotic duty. They are not cages, they're fences, and it's not a crisis, it's a challenge. And those doctors that you referenced, as well as the New York Times, Washington Post, and others in the mainstream media, simply carry all of this out to pursue and shape their narrative.
Well, we're going to get to the specific media compare and contrast in just a moment. But before, John Fleming, we can kind of take this frame by frame, because when you think about if this were Donald Trump climbing the steps, if you were tuning into any other media outlets, they would be having these conversations. And look, I feel for him. I hope he's okay. You wouldn't want anyone to go through this. In fact, it's painful to watch as it happens. But John Fleming, you know, this is a tough, embarrassing for your average citizen, of course, embarrassing for anyone, a president as well. Everyone's watching. Your thoughts when you see it?
Absolutely. Well, as a physician, viewing this, it's very worrisome. His motor capabilities are definitely diminished. And if you correlate that with what we see during certain interviews and during certain speeches where he refers to Harris as being president, yes, this all correlates. And I agree with the physician that you had on earlier who said that this is very problematic in terms of his brain function, both currently and in the future.
I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, I'll come to you, Rick, because we're sitting here looking at this in real time. The media is completely ignoring this. I mean, here's what happened when President Trump took his time going down a slippery metal ramp last summer.
There are some questions this morning about President Trump's health, and it's because of this video of the president where you see him walking very haltingly, one leg at a time, it starts happening here, down a ramp. So maybe he just has a hard time going down a gently sloping ramp. But do you see something possibly neurological that could be throwing off his balance?
I mean, it's just incredible. I mean, we had the New York Times. They also jumped on this bandwagon with the headline, all types of crazy headlines. I mean, Trump's halting walk down ramp raises new health questions. It's just really crazy for me. I mean, when I sit here and look at what's happening, you have the media, which is completely in the pocket of the Biden administration. No one ever cares about what's happening on the southern border anymore. No one cares about any of the things of the lack of transparency that's happening right now when they completely abuse the Trump administration. Rick, how do we even function in society right now when the media won't call out the administration in charge of functioning for all of Americans is nowhere to be found?
Yeah, Joe, the hypocrisy is what drives us crazy the most. And since you decided to break out in song with Kenny Rogers there with once, twice, three times a lady, I'm going to take us back a little further to the 70s again. I'm sorry to keep going back. I started with Carter and Biden channeling his ineptitude, but go a little further back to Ford. I mean, look, President Ford was one of the healthiest, most athletic presidents we've ever had in history. His stumble on the steps caused Chevy Chase on Saturday Night Live to make him out to be a bumbling idiot, and they basically framed that for years and created that persona of President Ford. So that, the hypocrisy is off the charts. Same thing as you mentioned with the press and the border, not even allowing the press in now, not only in that China meeting that you were showing earlier, but at the border. The administration is an embarrassment overall. Look, the health of the president, I mean, we root for our presidents, whether they're left, right, Democrat, Republican, we root for them because they represent our nation, and we want them to succeed in terms of protecting our nation at least. There's no question this man is not physically and mentally able to do the job. Right. I realize we don't want Kamala Harris to be president, but listen, the 25th Amendment is going to have to be invoked at some point here if Biden's family is not going to do the right thing and take him off the national stage.
Yeah, as you say, we want everyone to be in good health and doing well. His press comm says he's okay. They said it was a very windy day in Washington, D.C.
That's why I'm sticking to it. Senior abuse.
Okay, we got to leave it at that. Thanks, our panelists. We appreciate you taking the time. New hour of National Report starts right now.